Oh, okay. Half an ounce of water a day for every pound of body weight. Give you a rule of thumb as to how much water you want to be drinking. So let's talk about fats. Which are the healthy fats and which are those that we should avoid? So the two worst kinds of fats for us are saturated fats and trans fats. And even though trans fats have been banned, they can still be found in some bakery items and in processed foods. Now, saturated fats are bad for us because they raise cholesterol. It leads to a buildup of plaque and in the arteries, and this will limit the circulation to the heart and to the brain. And saturated fats come mostly from animal sources. So meat and poultry, especially the skin of poultry, and in dairy products like high-fat cheeses and whole milk dairy products. Now, fatty fish also contain saturated fat, but they're also very high in a good fat for us, the omega-3 fatty acids. And for that reason, fatty fish are actually very good for us. And we're going to get into just what kinds of fish are the best ones to eat. Now, there are also some vegetable oils that are not good choices. And these are corn oil, safflower oil, sunflower, soybean, and those that are just labeled vegetable oil. So besides being highly processed and refined, these fats are high in omega-6 fatty acids. And this throws off the ideal ratio that we want in the body between the omega-3 fatty acids and the omega-6 fatty acids. So good sources of omega-3 fatty acids, good foods to eat: fatty fish, flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts, soybeans, spinach, Brussels sprouts, and pastured eggs, free-range eggs. So there's a middle category of fats which are not the worst and not the best. In other words, okay in moderation. And those are canola oil and coconut oil. Coconut oil is saturated, but it has anti-inflammatory properties. And so those two oils are okay in moderate amounts. The very best fats to eat are found in olives, olive oil, avocados, avocado oil, all the nuts and seeds, seaweeds, and fatty fish, especially salmon, sardines, herring, mackerel, and anchovies. When it comes to oils, the cold pressed oils are the best. All right, the number one dietary advice, and I'm sorry you hear this all the time, eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, and especially those with deep dark colors. Now, berries have dark colors, and they're especially good because they're also low in sugar. And I came upon something kind of new recently. They call it the 3-2-1 rule. And that is every day, strive to have 3 cups of vegetables, 2 cups of fruits, and 1 cup of beans, which I think maybe are underrepresented in our diets. Beans are very important because they give us a lot of fiber. And it's very important to eat a high fiber diet. So that whole legume family, the beans and lentils, along with whole grains, those give us energy. They stabilize blood sugar and insulin levels. And fiber also feeds the good bacteria in the gut. Now, spices and dried herbs are very concentrated sources of antioxidants, and they are anti-inflammatory as well. And the very best ones for brain health are turmeric and saffron. Now, these are not strong tasting herbs and spices, and it's very easy to add those to a lot of things that you cook, like soups and stews and rice dishes. So use those as much as you can. And when it comes to fish, eat small fish. The large fish are long living and they're predatory, and therefore they're much more likely to have mercury. One rule of thumb is don't eat a fish that wouldn't fit into your frying pan. And actually the very best fish are the little canned fish, sardines, herring, mackerel. These are very small. They're usually wild caught. And you can find them often packed in olive oil or water. And even get the ones with the edible bones for the extra calcium. So if you choose to eat meat, it really should be grass-fed beef and organic poultry without the skin. Avoid eating fatty meats, a lot of butter, and high-fat dairy products.
Deb, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Say you're going out to eat. A lot of us like to go out to eat. Will the restaurant know, if you ask them about the poultry and the beef, are they going to know if it's grass-fed, antibiotic-free? Is the chef going to be answer and have a correct answer to that question if you ask?
Well, they would know if it is grass-fed, if it's organic. The chef would know. I don't think you're going to find it that often. And, during the pandemic, I think people ate out a lot of takeaway food. And, I have to say, we eat much better when we eat at home. You know what you're buying and you know what you're eating. So I'd say eat out in moderation. And like you say, ask a lot of questions, but they're going to add butter and salt. It just makes the food taste so much better. Yeah. But when you're out, a little red wine and dark juices in small quantities have some healthy properties, as long as it's in moderation. Eat a diet low in sugar and avoid artificial sweeteners. Those both will cause inflammation. The best sweetener actually is honey. High blood pressure is definitely a risk for dementia. So try to avoid too much sodium. And remember that processed foods and fast foods are generally high in sodium. Now, in the body, sodium and potassium are always in balance. So if you're taking in too much sodium, this will lead to a deficiency in potassium. So try to offset that by eating foods that are high in potassium. For example, sweet potatoes, white potatoes, avocado, legumes, celery, and bananas. It's very important to keep your blood pressure in check, either with diet or, if necessary, with medication. So something that is not good for the body or the brain is inflammation. And chronic inflammation can be caused by many things, and being overweight is one of them. Excess body fat leads to inflammation. Other causes are stress, not enough sleep or poor quality sleep, too much or too little exercise, smoking, and too much alcohol. Here are some other things besides diet that are very important to keep the mind sharp. One is exercise. 30 to 60 minutes a day of brisk or fairly strenuous exercise, but then not to be sedentary for the rest of the day. Don't sit too much. Even if you're at your desk or watching TV, get up frequently and walk around. Stress management. Chronic stress leads to dementia. Toxins are very important to brain health. Toxins accumulate in our fat stores and in our fatty brain. And toxins can come in from the water we drink, our food, air, and through the skin. So things to watch are iron pots and pans, copper pipes. So if you have copper pipes in the morning, let the water run for a while before you use it or drink from the faucet. The water has been sitting in those copper pipes overnight, absorbing copper. Try to avoid plastic containers, breathing in cleaning supplies, and using soaps and shampoos that have chemicals. Be sure to use a good water filter. Your sleep quality and quantity is important. 7 to 8 hours is minimum, and 9 is okay too. You can also exercise the brain. Remember that the brain loves learning and novelty. Don't let your brain be on autopilot. I'm sure you've all experienced that. You arrive at your desk at work and you don't really have any recollection of how you got there. Obviously, you got dressed, you ate breakfast, you drove your car, but you were on autopilot. You were thinking about other things. And the brain needs lots of stimulus from all your senses. So try to practice mindfulness and be present. And know that there's actually 3 kinds of exercise that your brain needs. One is intellectual and learning. So that's reading a book or listening to a podcast. Another is using your brain through your body, like learning dance steps or playing a sport or a musical instrument, or maybe learning a new piece on your musical instrument. And the other kind of exercise for the brain is social interaction. So we're using empathy, maybe reading body language. And it's very important to have all these 3 types of exercise for the brain frequently. Keep your mouth and your teeth clean to limit bacteria that could enter your bloodstream. That's not good for your heart, not good for your brain. So floss and brush your teeth often, even during the day, as well as morning and night. Tea is very good for the brain, the heart. It's anti-cancer, and it can even prevent Parkinson's disease. Especially good teas are black, green, oolong, as well as chamomile and hibiscus. Those are the most powerful. Coffee is also good for us. It keeps us alert. But someone once said that every cup of coffee after that first morning cup is a missed opportunity to drink tea. So I guess that's how important, how good for you tea is. So those are all the tips I have. if you have any questions or you want to talk about anything, I'd be happy. What the handout was is kind of a grocery list.
Scott has a question. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. It's really very informative. Scott has a question.
Yeah, that was awesome. So Deanne and I are vegan, and we've been vegan for a number of years now, probably 5-6 years. And pretty much everything on your list we do, minus the eggs. Black teas, green teas, hibiscus tea. We have all 3 of those in the house. Occasional oolong. We don't eat any meat, which has helped out not only with my family history of cholesterol and blood pressure, but also with the dentist. So the dentist is convinced that I floss my teeth, and I haven't flossed my teeth even with a water pick in over a year. And I just had a dental exam and cleaning, and just cutting meat out or minimizing it to only very special occasions helped out with health quite a bit. I did have one question. Are there any fruits or vegetables to avoid that might cause inflammation?
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with any of the fruits or vegetables. Palm oil is technically a plant that should be avoided. It's in a lot of processed foods. It's saturated fat, and coconut or coconut oil should be used in moderation. But no, I don't think eating any fruits or vegetables will lead to any kind of inflammation.
Okay, and how is peanut oil? We have a variety of oils. We have avocado, sesame, canola, we know to use in moderation. We stopped using coconut because it was causing elevated levels of blood pressure and cholesterol when we were using it on a regular basis. But how is peanut oil? I've heard that peanut butter are okay by themselves, but it's the commercial peanut butter that they add the safflower oil to that causes problems.
Right. You can, oh dear, decline. Sorry. Yeah, the kind of peanut butter I buy is the Teddy brand, and it doesn't have anything in it except the peanuts. You can get it with salt or without salt, but it doesn't have any oils added to it. And peanuts are good for you. Peanut oil, yes, it's I think good for cooking. I think it has like a high smoke. You can heat it, so it's good for like frying or cooking. So I think that's one of the oils to use in moderation. But anytime you're eating cold foods or salads, I would use a cold pressed oil. So I would say peanut oil is not bad, and it should be reserved maybe for frying if you're sauteing some vegetables sometime. Hope that answered your question.
Yeah, we do that, or we lightly add it to like waffle and pancake batter, but not too much of it.
Oh, the peanut oil?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It brings out quite a bit of flavor and things
Oh,
like that. Baked goods and
okay.
stuff.
Yeah, I have 2 kinds of olive oil in my cabinet. One is the cold pressed, so that's for salads and cold things. And then I have a light tasting one that's not cold pressed, and that's what I use for cooking. And I find I can even put it in like a muffin recipe that it doesn't have a strong flavor, which, you know, like virgin olive oil might make your baked goods taste bad.
Deb, we have about 7 minutes, but if anyone has any questions, can they send you a text or an email if there's any questions on the presentation?
Yes, of course.
I have
Yes, you want me to, my email is deborah.dubitzky@yahoo.com. And
I can send that out to people too, so.
yeah, I'll respond.
I have a question. I had a discussion with someone yesterday about fruit. I was discussing that we have, hi Tammy, I have the 80-20 book in my car here. Yeah, and I wanted to ask you, I was having a discussion about bananas specifically. I know in the book it says that there's good points to every fruit that you can have, but a friend of mine was saying, well, I don't have some fruits because the sugar content, and I'm worried about the sugar in my diet. Now, I understand that maybe you won't have some fruit. There's some fruit you shouldn't have it not late at night because the sugar might interfere with your sleep. I can understand bananas, maybe one of those fruits, but can you just address the issue about some fruits that are people are saying are not good because of the sugar content of them?
If you're a diabetic, then you probably want to ask a dietitian or your doctor if you
Yes,
would need
diabetic.
to avoid fruit. But for most of us, the natural sugar that's in fruit is very well tolerated because it has the fiber in it that causes it to be digested slowly. I can say that a large banana is considered 2 fruit servings, on a diabetic diet, or, it's according to a dietitian, they'd say a large banana should be counted as 2 fruits. So half a large
Okay.
banana would be enough to eat at one time.
Deb, so basically, what would you do? Well, something that sticks out from what you presented, I think a lot of people aren't aware of the benefit of beans and legumes. A lot of people, when I grew up, what beans consisted of? Having baked beans. Now, that's not necessarily, hot dogs and beans aren't necessarily the healthiest thing for nitrites, but when I grew up with beans, the one thing that people associate with beans is having the baked beans from the can, Heinz, which sure isn't that great for you, but I think people should really realize that there's other types of beans too besides baked beans that are prepared at the ground.
Yeah, we way too much fiber, way too little fiber in this country, and beans and lentils, that whole bean group, that's where most of the fiber is. And yeah, the baked beans are very sweet. And that's not the best choice. Whenever I make a salad, I add half a cup of beans, and it's very good. Chickpeas or kidney beans, black beans, very good in a salad. Yeah, highly underrated beans, and it's so economical as well and versatile.
Deb, it's an amazing presentation. I know that people really need to understand about diet. Just tell you, I grew up by the airport in Kennedy Airport, and the cancer rate was so high that 50% of my friends' mothers died.
Wow.
Before the age. I think it was because of the diet, but the noise. Well, I think, and my uncles all died in their 40s.
Was
Johnny,
it the air pollution?
I think it was a combination because I had a friend out there once, and they said, "How'd you live here?" Between the air pollution from the
sound,
noise pollution from right by the runway, and I mean, it was all based on cholent and deli and cookies. And my mother was noted for having all these baked goods. People come from far and wide because they weren't allowed to have sugars there in their house, so we had it in my house. Hey, Stolmans.
Yeah, it's amazing we survived growing up in this generation with Wonder Bread and Tang. You remember that? That was my orange juice growing up. So somehow we survived, and now we can
I
do
want to be an
better.
astronaut.
Marshmallow fluff, and oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's amazing we arrived at this age. So now we can make up for it. So maybe I can come up with some bean recipes and ideas, and we'll all start eating more beans.
I think that would be a good idea, probably.
Just take it easy first, if you're not.
You know what? If you're not used to beans, you better be careful with the beans. You may not be around people. That's the difficulty.
Oh, that's probably why some people avoid them.
And
Yeah.
that's why, Deb, people tell me I can't have beans because well, anyway, it's not a reason. They have other things you can take with that.
I started slow with the lentils and then just make it a regular
Yeah.
part of your diet, and your body gets used to it, and then you'll be better for it.
Yeah,
So,
your body can adjust. Yeah.
So Deb, maybe we'll do this again. Maybe you and I can discuss. Maybe we can put out some recipes for people. I have a book with 500 recipes right now. I have to go through them. All different types of great things that you can have. Here's Tammy. Welcome, Tammy, to our service.
Shalom.
We have a special service tonight. My father's yahrzeit is upcoming, and Tammy has agreed to do some of my father's favorite songs, and then we're going to teach some new songs to you guys as well from Nava Tehillah, one of the hottest groups in Israel, and Zemer, which is a smrut that traditional people sing on Friday night. We're going to do Yari Bon Olam, which I sang every Friday night around my table. So I hope you're gonna. And we have the Stolmans from Florida, right? There you are. So we're gonna have. I know we have Gigi Stolman's yahrzeit, so we're gonna remember her also at the service tonight. Welcome the Stolmans from Florida. Okay, we're going to start. We're gonna teach a song, and the name of it is. I think you guys know Oseh Shalom. The words Oseh Shalom. And this is by the great, I saw them actually in Waterford 2 years ago at Emmanuel, where Nava Tehillah was there. And I know they use a lot of, hey, Stolman kids. So they used a lot of the tunes from Nava Tehillah, a very talented group from the land of Israel. So Tammy's going to teach you Oseh Shalom by Nava Tehillah.
You do it from here? Okay. I'll do it from here. Okay, it's a little daunting to teach on Zoom, so just repeat after me at home. Oh, say shalom. Now you try it. Oh, say shalom. Say shalom on you. No, you. Say shalom on oh, Yisrael, try that. Oh, Yisrael. Oh, Yoshvei Teva. Try that. Oh, Yoshvei Teva. Try that. Oh, try that. Say shalom. Al kol yoshvei tevel. Al kol yoshvei tevel. You. The Emu. Yai lai 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 try that. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai lai. Yai la 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 la. Yai la la la. Yai la la la. Yai la la. Yai la 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 la. Try. Yai la 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 la. Yai la la la. Yai la 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 la. Stop there. Oh, say, tell me. It's everything. We call that kind of neoclassic because it's a new sound, but it's based on old motifs.
And I think we're gonna add this to the bonfire, Lori's.
Oh, yes, at the bonfire.
Now that you guys know it, and I want to introduce something that we used to sing for hours when I was in Yeshiva in Yerushalayim, but my father used to sing it around our table. It's called Zmirot. These are just songs praising God on Shabbat when you can't watch TV, technically, if you're traditional. So it means in Aramaic, ruler of the world, you are supreme, king of kings. How lovely to sing of your wonders. At dawn and dusk, your praise I declare. Creator of all angels and mortals, beasts of the fields and birds in the air. So Tammy's gonna now do Yari Bon Olam, which is one of the most popular things that we sang as kids in New York and all over the world, it sounds. You guys enjoy those. We're turning now to back into our Friday night service with everyone. Please join us. I think you guys over many years with Shalom.